a major development on Syria as well. Why is the White House moving forward and essentially rewarding Syria's new government? What's the strategy here, and how is that going to be viewed among allies of the U.S., including Saudi Arabia?
Sanctions relief for Syria is a gamble, but I think it's the right gamble, and it was something that Saudi Arabia encouraged President Trump to do. In fact, he said in his speech he's doing it in part because the Crown Prince MBS asked him to. The collapse of the Assad regime, long awaited last December, gives the Syrian people a chance finally to build a better future. And we have to be careful. The new Syrian leadership, as you mentioned, has roots in jihadist movements. So we have to not judge them by their words, but judge them by their actions. So far, I think the acting president of Syria, al-Shara, who President Trump will meet today, has said and done many of the right things. He's tried to be inclusive of minorities in his government. He has demonstrated and said that he doesn't want Syria to pose a threat to any country, including to Israel. And he's aligning himself with our moderate partners in the region, like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. So it should be monitored, it should be tested, but if he actually goes in that direction, it should also be supported. The reason is that if they don't get the sanctions relief and they don't have the resources they need to rebuild the country, to resettle refugees, to restore stagnant services for their people, it could cause chaos, and that chaos is a fertile ground for extremists to take root. Also, they could turn to our rivals. They could turn to China or Russia as the source of their funds that they need to do that reconstruction. So it's very important to see if we can help them through this phase, monitor very carefully that they keep their commitments, and that Congress work together with President Trump to structure this sanctions relief, which doesn't happen with the stroke of one pen, in such a way that we could restore sanctions if indeed they don't keep those commitments.
So what do you expect to come out of this conversation between Trump and al-Shara today? And at a broader level here, how is this also being viewed in Israel? The real concern on the ground there is that Netanyahu has essentially been left out of the cold. He's uninvited, unwanted, and unmentioned as of yet through the course of this meeting in Saudi Arabia and the wider Gulf. What's going on?
Hopefully the meeting with al-Shara will chart the path toward a normalized relationship between the United States and Syria, with Syria choosing to align itself with the United States and the camp of countries in the Middle East that are our partners, the moderate countries. That might even open up a path ultimately to peaceful relations between Israel and Syria. It's true that Israel is very, very skeptical of the Syrian government, and what is a little bit concerning is the way that some of these decisions that President Trump is making that do affect Israel's security, he seems to be making without real consultation with them. He's treating Israel like almost any other country, that he knows what he wants to do. He's very impatient to get it done. If you're along for the ride, you can come along, and if not, he's going to go along without you. In Israel, things, as I mentioned, are very stuck with the war in Gaza, so there aren't a lot of wins there. And so apparently he decided it wasn't worth visiting on this trip. He, of course, as we know, is attracted to the glitz and the glamour and the dollars of the Gulf states. Israel is a close partner, but it's had some hard times, and it's a bit of a scaled-down ally compared to those. There you don't have the funds for $600 billion of investment or for luxury 747 airliners. But I think many Israelis that I'm talking to are feeling a bit uncomfortable that President Trump is taking decisions on matters that affect Israel's security without full consultation with their government. He reached a ceasefire with the Houthis in Yemen, even though the Houthis continue to fire missiles at Israel. He conducts nuclear talks with Iran, very sensitive talks, without fully coordinating or taking into account Israeli positions. The Syria sanctions decision, which I support, was done without real consultation with Israel. And, of course, the very good news of the release of the American Israeli hostage, Yadon Alexander, was also done without any serious consultation with Israel. Now, Israel has to do its own work to get into those conversations. But Israelis who generally like Trump and supported him very much in his first term are seeing a somewhat different approach in the second term, and it makes them nervous.
Ambassador, let's get real here, though. Do you think this was a deliberate snub towards Netanyahu?
I think the relationship is not in the kind of shape one traditionally wants to see, and it does see. The U.S. is a relationship of a very close, very trusting, very intimate partnership between two countries and two leaders. President Trump has surprised Prime Minister Netanyahu a number of times. Prime Minister Netanyahu, I think, has frustrated President Trump by the decisions he's making that are making it hard to get all the hostages released and bring the war in Gaza to a close, and that he's very bound to the most far-right extreme members of his coalition. So there's tension in this relationship right now. Doesn't mean that nothing positive is happening and the work can be done together, but I'd encourage both sides to sit and talk at a high level to make sure they're as coordinated as possible on all these very sensitive security challenges across the region, because they will affect both of us. At the end, Israel's security is a priority for the United States and our national interest, and so it's important that that coordination take place, even when there are some disagreements.